area of your life. So when you named them together, career transition, motherhood, why did you name those two?
Consulting straight into education. So when I was even going for my master's, when I saw the course, I was excited. So education literally excites me.
You said this experience redefined you. Who did you stop being?
Okay. So on this journey, when I was about, I can't remember the number of years. There's this song, I don't mind waiting, I don't mind waiting, I don't mind waiting on God, you know. And I said, God, you see that song? It's not for me. This is my own. I said, I'm done with waiting. God, you know what? I am done with waiting. I am tired of waiting. But what I realized in retrospect is that God was actually waiting for me. I was not the one that was waiting on God. Because I said there was a version, I keep saying it, that maybe if I had children immediately I got married, the quality of children I would have raised is not the same quality of child I'm raising now. Because I have grown in my understanding of God's purpose, God's counsel, why we are here in the first place, why we have children in the first place, knowing that I am not, yes, I might be her biological mother, but I'm just a custodian. God, just be in charge, stay in charge, watch over this. I'm committing this into your care. And I needed to be stronger. Like I'm not saying I'm all wise, but I'm wiser now than I was then. And the woman that I have become now, the stronger, the prayerful, the one who sees the purpose of God in everything. I'm looking at, okay, why is this thing this way? There's depth, there's more maturity. And I believe that that was the place that God was waiting for us to come into before we could start having children. Because I don't know what child I have, what her destiny is, but there was a version of me and my husband that God needed for us to start having those children. So at times I look at the Abraham and the Sarah story, and every time I always say, Lord, I thank you. At least I wasn't 90 like Sarah. But here we are. But there was some place they needed to get to. Just like John the Baptist too. There, Jesus he had to be born just about when Jesus was going to be born. So all that understanding now, it just helps me. So when I see women who are waiting, I'm like, see, just rest in God, because God is the master planner. You don't even understand what God is doing yet. Don't be agitated. Don't fret. Don't go left, right, and center. That was one thing I tried to do. They'll tell you, oh, they're praying here. Go to that church. You can pray there. And the very first time I did that, when I got there and I left, I felt empty. I didn't feel like, oh, I had just been in the presence of God. But I saw other people go away with their miracles, go away with testimonies and all of that. And the Holy Spirit said to me, this is not for you. Don't go helter-skelter. Your God has not gone on a journey. Stay where I have planted you. Stay in your church, and I will meet you there. This was probably about 3 years into my waiting journey. Imagine I stayed for another 9 years, and God indeed met me there. So I think what this journey has helped me with is I've learned to be more patient. I've learned to extend grace to people in different circumstances and situations. It has helped me. I see the world from a different perspective now. I can't really quantify or express what it is, but it has essentially just shaped who I am and how I live my life.
You have actually entered the space of faith, and you have touched on some of the questions I would have loved to ask. But I want you to speak again, or just go and tell us more. Just tell me more about this, your walk with God, and how it deepened. I know that there are people of faith who will listen to this. There are people who they do not believe in God as we expect or as we think, who will also listen to it. I want you to just talk us through that deepening of your faith. You have already touched on some of the lessons and what you have taken away from the season, but I'm interested in hearing more about that deepened faith.
Okay. So I think when we go through hard times, hard seasons, what I have learned now is that it's only an opportunity to know God, to know another dimension of God. All the names of God we read of in the Bible, they were born out of people's experiences. Someone who was at a point of need. Okay, let's take Abraham, for example. He finally has this child. God has finally blessed him. And God says, you know what? I want that child. Go sacrifice that child to me. Go kill that child. And he obeys. It's only someone who had gone through the journey Abraham had gone through that would have done that. He had waited for all these donkey years. Finally, the child is here. Trust me, if God had asked of someone who had the child just like that, I'm sure it would have been a struggle. But he had, I believe there was a place Abraham was at then that he just knew that, you know what, I'd better give everything all. I know that God has me covered. And he went, they're there. The son was asking him and saying, don't worry, God will provide. God will provide. And eventually God did provide. And he named that place Jehovah Jireh. So the personality of God, the person of God is the dimension of God that God wants us to know is revealed to us in the seasons that we go through, as long as we allow him. And I think on my journey, one of the things I realized someone was saying to me was that at times you determine how long it takes. Because if it takes God 10 years to get to your heart, to get to that place, to strip you of whatever it is that has been covering your eyes or whatever, then you are going to stay for those 10 years. Do you understand? If it takes 5 years, then you are fine for 5 years. If it takes 2 days, then you are fine, So I saw all those things made me realize that when you go through stuff, it is just God trying to reveal himself to you, trying to show himself strong on your behalf. And I think trouble is one of the best ways to know God. Because when you have pressure, what you run to, it's just, I don't know how to essentially articulate this. It's in here, but I'm like, when you are going through fire, you are looking for some sort of comfort. It's only in God you can find that true comfort. So even though it's not easy, but at times when things come, like, okay, God, how do I go through this now? What version of yourself are you trying to show me? So in all fairness, and one of the things that season it really did to me also was I learned how to pray. Oh God, I thought I used to pray before, but in that season, the ability to pray, it just changed. The way I prayed, it changed. The understanding I had, it changed. When I'm looking at the word of God, it changed. The lens had changed. It was literally like I changed my lens. I changed my way of perceiving and understanding life. And I don't know if I never went through all of that. I don't know if I would be here today. Really, I don't know where I would be today, in all fairness. But so that, let me just stop there because I could just go on and on and on and on.
No, it's beautiful to hear. It's really beautiful to hear because there are a lot of people who will listen to this or who would watch this that are in similar or have gone through a similar experience, and they will draw strength from all that you are saying. And I am really
Exactly.
opening up to
Yes,
share.
yes.
So
If I may just
let's talk motherhood. Let's talk motherhood. What did motherhood ask of you that nothing else had?
Okay, so before I answer that question, I'm sorry, I was trying to interject earlier on just to say when you said that other people's stories. So one of the things that also helped me on this journey was other people's stories. So one of my friends, she gave me a book, and this book is about a woman who she had issues with her lungs, and So it dragged for a long time, very long time, years upon years upon years. And eventually she had to have a lung transplant, which means that someone had to die. Do you understand? For her to get the lung, So they eventually did the transplant. And after the surgery, successful surgery and everything, they realized that because she hadn't had oxygen in her system for a bit, her limbs were gone, her legs and her hands. But eventually, life came back to her hands, but her legs were dead. So they literally had to amputate 2 of her legs. And that woman's story, I think I borrowed someone that book and I can't find it anymore. So when I see her story and what she's doing today, she's doing wonderful work. She uses prosthetic limbs. She gives prosthetic limbs to other people as well today. I think she runs a foundation called Feet of Grace. That story, I'm like, God, this woman, she's still standing. I have not lost any body parts. She's still serving you. Who am I? What is wrong? That was one story. The other story was a woman who, I don't know, I can't remember what medical condition she had. She gave a testimony at Dunamis and they had to take out her womb, her entire reproductive organ, everything. They had to take it out. Although she had, I think, 3 or 4 children by then or something. I can't remember the number of children. So she was like, well, at least she's done with having children. So, hey, you can take it out. So they did. And then I think somewhere along the line, she got pregnant. And, even the doctor that did surgery was like, Madam, I did the surgery. I don't know what is going on. You see, you're not going to deliver this child with the normal. You have to come through and have a CS because I want to see what is going on there. And they opened her up and they said the child was held in something that just looked like a polythene bag. That was what the child was in, not in the womb. It wasn't like God, there was another womb, but God just created something and that child was there. And I'm like, God, these people. So on days when I'm down, I just go back to those testimonies. I read those stories again and I can forge ahead. And it was because of the experience. So when I was done, I told God, I said, God, I'm going to write a book. So that my own story, I drew strength from the stories of these people. I want people to be able to draw strength from my story as well. And I put that book together. Immediately I had my child. I made sure I did it. It's published. It's out there. The book is there. So back to your question, in what ways has motherhood stretched me? Having a child in old age. Because I eventually had my daughter when I was 40. So she will be 5 this year, which means I am 45 in a week and some days plus.
Oh.
So that has been like the most challenging part, when you're like generations apart, 40 years difference. How? So trying to keep abreast of the issues and everything they're dealing with in their generation, raising a young child at this age, and juggling also, because at times I'm like, God, that now I want to just fly and go. At times I believe that, I should be going to this place, I should be traveling this much. But because of my daughter, it just kind of slows me down. But I don't take that for granted. Even at times I'm like, God, why? Because now this is like where I won't say it's at the peak of my career, not yet, but I'm getting closer to the peak. I'm like, I'm not at entry level anymore. It's entry level, but I've learned not to complain also. So those are probably some of the challenges, that the fact that motherhood actually slows me down. And I think it's for a reason. God has put that in for a purpose. Maybe I would have gone too fast and faster than God or what have you, I don't know. And then being that old parents, when they call for parties, their class parties, school parties, I'm grateful to God that I have this young face, so I can just blend in. I don't look my age with the other parents. So that's the beauty of it. I'm sure most of them will almost fall off their chairs when I tell them my age, like, it's a lie, but that's just it, really. And what else about motherhood? I think that's just it, really. But I'm enjoying it because my daughter is an absolute delight. Oh, God.
So what are you still learning? What are the things that are still unfolding? overall?
Well, the truth is, with God, you can never get to the end of God. You can never get to the point where you say, I know it all. For me, for example, I am a lifelong learner. So I always have an open mind. I'm always open to learning new things. And I think that has helped me. So what I'm learning this season, generally, first and foremost, in the area of my faith, is learning obedience, relearning obedience. Because I used to think that when God says, do this, you can almost tell what the outcome will be. If God says, sow this seed, it means that I'm going to reap a massive harvest. And then when the massive harvest doesn't come, we get angry. But God, you told me to do this, and I did this. Why am I not reaping the harvest? I'm dragging God. What I'm learning this season is that it's just obedience, just obey. God did not say, when you do this, then I will do this. It's just saying, do this. Just obey, and then whatever the outcome is, trust God. In fact, don't look out for the outcomes. Just obey because He said do it. So that's what I'm learning in this season. Because at times, I think that's for me, because I think I was going through it, but I didn't realize I was going through it until someone in a group I belong to was saying it that, that God told them to do this and they did this and they did this. And at the end of the day, the outcomes were different. And then they've gone back to God to say, God, but you told us to do this and this. And that it was at that point God told him, yes, you have your reward for obedience. I did not tell you that you would have that outcome. Have you done what you were supposed to do? So someone else told them that, yes, when the record is opened, did you do what you were asked to do? Yes. So leave it. Leave it to God. You don't know what God had done. You don't even know how it all adds up in God's grand agenda, So I think that has helped me to realize that we are human and we are frail at our best. And we are only pencils in the hands of the Creator. The Creator can use you to write this today. It doesn't mean that you are the big picture. You are just a tiny fraction of the big picture. And it's as all of us pick our part, do our bit, that's when the picture comes in place. So that's what I've learned generally on my faith walk this season. And then personally on the job, with life and everything, I'm learning to be more patient with people. I'm learning to extend grace. I'm learning not to shut doors, because for me before, if you hurt me, I give you a chance, give you a chance, that's it. Be going. Let me have my peace. But now what I'm learning recently is that you don't always shut the door in people's faces. Always give a chance for people to come back. If they take it, good. If they don't, it's fine. But at least there is an open door. There's always that avenue for people to come back, because really, we grow every day, we learn every day. This thing that I believe that I'm doing that is right today, I might walk into tomorrow and realize that, wow, I made a grave mistake. But if that door has been shut in my face, I don't even have the opportunity to go back to redeem that situation or relationship. So I'm learning to just extend that grace to people and not be quick to just lump everybody in a bucket and say, that's the way they are. No, trying to say, well, I don't know what this person is going through. I don't know where they are. So let's just extend grace there. So that's where I am currently.
Wow. So if you could sit with the woman you were before this season began, before you entered into this new phase of life, what would you tell her?
Calm down. I'll just say, calm down. Just calm down. How do people say? Just go do it? Am I correct? I just say, just calm down. That's it. Because everything it's just time. Time. When the time has passed and you look back, you're like, now wow, was it me that did that? Oh no, So just calm down, live and live, like live fully. Don't hold back. Don't just live fully. Go if you have to remove the people that make you sad, make you feel down, please remove them from your life and focus and just be and live fully, live a full life. That's what I would say, because all those years now, they are gone. I can't take that time back. Imagine if I hadn't gone for my master's there. Now I'm struggling to go for my PhD now because of all the things I'm juggling. But imagine if that master's, if I was holding on to that and saying, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to do anything, I just have to wait, that time is gone. I can't redeem it. So live to the fullest and just rest in God. That's what I would say. I would have said to me then.
What would you want other women to know? Women standing in the middle of their own season of change at the moment. What would you want them to?
Okay, so I think one of the other things I learned is being clear on what I want. So that's one of the things I think we struggle with. We're not fully clear on, oh, this is what I want, this is how I want it. We're usually in like a bubble. We just, just go, okay, I think I want this. But one thing is, if you're clear, have that laser focus, be focused. This is the direction I'm headed. This is the thing I want. And nothing is going to shift. And then we just stay there and continue to grow and pray or whatever you need to do. Keep the right people around you, the right company. I'm not saying sycophants. I'm saying people who can encourage you when you need to be encouraged, people who can scold you when you need to be scolded, people who can pray with you when you need prayers. Just the right people who can feel your pulse. And then what you want these people to be to you, please be to them as well. Because what you sow is what you reap. So that's what I will say to any woman who is, whatever you're going through, find someone you can pour back into. Because I think that was one of the things I started doing. I started looking at other women around me who were waiting for the fruit of the womb. And I had a list, and I would just pray for them. I'm sure they didn't know I was doing that, but I would just pray for them because I also wanted someone to be holding me in prayers. And when I eventually had my daughter, I was so overwhelmed by the number of people that came to tell me, oh, we were praying for you. And I'm like, really? Okay, that's good. I was actually sowing it in the lives of those women, and I was reaping it in another way. Other people were praying for me as well. So whatever you want to see in your life, even if you are not seeing it now, try and make it happen for another person, and in time it will come back to you.
Thank you so very much, Olamipo. Thank you. Conversations like this are not conversations we hear every day. Yes, we can go and testify in church, but to just be open about the journey and talk about it, a lot of times is not something we find easily, So thank you for your honesty, for the openness to share, and not just what happened, but who you have become through it. One of the things that this conversation has brought out for me is that, one, transformation does not always arrive dramatically. Two, that season of waiting, the season of trouble, like you said, through troubles, the best version of you comes out.
Yes.
And sometimes it comes through, like we have said, through these seasons of transition, through seasons of waiting, through seasons of responsibility, of faith, of growth, and the everyday work of becoming. It's not an easy walk in the park, I must tell you. And to everyone listening, if something in this conversation resonated with you, I hope you will sit with it. Whether you are navigating a career transition, motherhood, a season of uncertainty, or simply becoming someone new, know that you are not alone. Thank you for joining us for this episode. And I am Kate Ibamsi, and this has been on Silenced Voices That Matter, where hope finds a voice and help finds a path. Join us on YouTube, on Spotify, and on other social media platforms to keep up with this conversation. Until next time, remember your voice matters. And thank you again, Olamipo, for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really delighted. And thank you for doing this. It's a wonderful initiative. And I do hope that many people are inspired and they can draw hope and strength from the stories that are shared on your platform. Thank you. Thank you so much.